Well, good evening. Good evening. Happy Tuesday to you. I trust you having a wonderful day. Welcome to another edition of the Leadership Edge. I'm your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder. This podcast, The Leadership Edge, is dedicated to leadership, to all things leadership. That's all we talk about. We don't talk about a whole lot of stuff. We're not exegeting the scriptures. We're not talking about end time prophecy. We're not talking about politics. We're not talking about education or sports. Nothing wrong with those subjects. We just talk about leadership. That's what we do. Okay? We want to give you that edge in your leadership. We want to make you a better leader. I think leadership is the buzzword out here. Everybody's talking about it. How can we be better? How can we do better? Well, this podcast is designed to help you do better, be better, and compete better. Okay? And so we want to take you from being an average leader to a good leader, from a good leader to a great leader. Okay? That's the goal, to give you the nuggets that will give you that edge, thus the leadership edge. Well, pray again that you had a great day, having a great week, off to a great week. We're headed toward the holiday season. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Christmas is right after that. And then we're thrust into a new year. Man, time is really flying. Now listen, before we get into our talk tonight, again, we want you to hit the like button, the share button. We want you to comment on the content you hear, things you hear. Bless you. Let us know. We want you to let us know where you're watching from. If you're from Atlanta or Charlotte or Nashville, wherever you're watching from, let us know. We want you to subscribe. Go to YouTube, BGTV Studios YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We want to get them subscriber numbers up. But the main thing I always talk to people about is share. Sharing helps us so much. Here's how sharing helps us. We all on our social media platforms have a level of influence. I have a reach. If only I'm sharing my point, my mind, that my reach is limited to my influence. But if I get 10 other people to share theirs, then it reaches another there, it goes there, it goes there. It goes places I couldn't go. And so now, instead of reaching one area, I'm reaching 10 other areas, okay? If I can get 100 of y'all out there to do that, imagine what BGTV Studios could reach. We want to blanket the land. We want the country to know about what's happening here in Birmingham, this platform, BGTV Studios. So sharers, please do the share, okay? Thank you for that. Now let's talk leadership. All right, that's what we're here for. We've been talking about the challenges of leadership. I think this is our 6th segment on it. We're going to be on it for a while. We might get to 30 segments. It's okay. We're just talking leadership, But we're talking about the challenges. As we talked about these challenges, we talked about the various things that came with leadership, with the challenge we're facing. We had a challenge of facing of new people. The next challenge we have is the challenge of dealing with new pains in leadership. I wish I can tell you that there was no pain in leadership. I wish I can say that this was a pain-free journey. One of my professors in grad school and one of my actually early mentors in leadership development, matter of fact, he's one of the, in my book here, The Leadership Edge, he's the first endorser, and that's Dr. Samuel Chan. Great leadership expert, one of the best out there. They don't come any better than Sam Chan. And he often says that, your capacity to lead it will be based on your capacity to endure pain. If you can't endure pain, you can't lead at a high level. He said your capacity to endure pain will determine the capacity you can lead at. Okay? So leadership has pain. I wish I can say it didn't, but it did. Now, what are some of the pains? What are some of the kinds of pains that leaders face? Well, one of the pains is dealing with the exploding rate of change. I don't know if you've been watching, but our world is changing rapidly. As a matter of fact, we've probably had more change, I would say, and I even think I read this somewhere, but I would say in the last 50 to 60 years, say since 1960s, that would be 60-something years. We've probably had more change in the last 60 years than the previous 1,000 years. Change is happening, and it's coming at us rapidly. It's not slowing down. It's not even waiting on you. Change forces you to make adjustments. Okay? I remember years ago, just to show you about change. We used to read about the end times and how the end of the world going to be, and the mark of the beast and all that stuff, And this is back in the 70s, 80s. They talked about a cashless society where we buying and shopping with no money. Well, in that, I couldn't even see that because we were all we had was cash. Everybody had no debit cards and credit cards in the 70s and 80s. Few people had them. They were the elite, but average Joe Blow wasn't walking around with a credit card and debit card. Debit card wasn't even out at that time. But I couldn't even imagine a cashless society. I couldn't even imagine it. Here we are in 2025, and guess what? Everything is done non-cash. I would say 90% of everything we do now is non-cash. Only about 10%. As a matter of fact, myself, now, I don't even have cash on me right now. Very seldom do I have cash on me. Very seldom. Maybe I don't never have it. Put it like that. Because we have been, and here's the bummer. I even had relatives and friends that said, I ain't gonna never get no cards, and the situations forced them to, because the people stopped taking cash. Change forces you to do what it wants you to do. So not everybody got cards. From the highest to the low, people that live in poverty still have a card. They have a debit card or some kind of card to transact with. Because that's what change has done. That's what change has done. That's what change has done. The pandemic changed the world. It really brought change to the church where I live at and where I function at. And we dealing with that change because the thing that we saw when we had to shut our churches down for a minute, when we came back, guess what? A lot of folk didn't come back. A lot of folks say, hey, I like to sit at home. I ain't got to get dressed. I ain't got to buy no new clothes, no wear and tear on my car, no gas. I save money. Let me sit at home, look at it from the luxury of my bedroom. I look at the live stream. And some people wasn't live streaming. And if you were in the pandemic not live streaming, you were lost in the water. You were dead in the water. Some churches didn't survive because they weren't prepared. Well, after the pandemic has ended, and we're still feeling the effects of post-pandemic, and I'll give you a couple in a moment. But what's happening is it forced us to change. So people who was resisting social media, resisting Facebook, guess what? They either went and got money, bought cameras and got it right, or they put an iPhone up, their iPad, and start streaming. But everybody at some level is streaming now. Why? Because if you're not streaming, you're not in the ball game. The situation forced us because your people are on social media. And if we're going to win the world, you got to go where they are, and that's where they are. So it forced us to stream. The good thing about it, it gave us potential of a worldwide audience. Most of us didn't have money to go on television, pay thousands of dollars per week, to be on television. No. But you can reach that same audience for free. All you got to have is a smartphone. So that's change. And so we're dealing with the fact that we're pastoring people who are in the building and people that are not in the building. That's it. We're dealing with the rapid explosion of change. And it's forcing us to reevaluate how we do ministry, how we do church, how we do everything in life. The pandemic did a change. Think about it. We can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to the Walmart Supercenter for 24 hours. Since the pandemic, guess what? There are no 24-hour Walmarts no more. Everything shuts down at 11 o'clock. What stays open past 11 o'clock now? Other than a convenience store. A truck stop, of course, Waffle House. Yes, they never close. They never lock their doors. I got this running joke about Waffle House. If Waffle House is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, why they need locks on their doors? Because they never lock them. Just food for thought. Okay. Now, but think about this for a moment. Think about it. Restaurants, you stay open late at night. All of them close at 9, 10 o'clock now. That has changed. The world has changed, and it's constantly shifting and changing. Our people working from home as opposed to going into the office, all kind of stuff. We're dealing with change. People are changing. The culture is changing. How are we going to minister and deal with this culture? That's a pain because here's the problem for us that's in ministry. The world changes quick. The church changes slow. And so sometimes as a leader, we up on the change, but our people are not there. And it's a hard time bringing them. Then other times, there are leaders who are still blind in tradition, and they don't want to change. And so the church is always years behind the world or society when it comes to change. We are slow to change. Because somehow we see change as an enemy. When change is nothing but a vehicle to progress. Every progress we have that we enjoy the benefit of, it's a result of change. Take that same smartphone, that same iPhone that I got here, that you got, or your Android, whichever one you roll with. You have this, and because you got this, guess what you don't have no more? You don't have a rotary phone at home no more. Nobody got a home phone. Who has a landline? What do you know? Kids growing up, they will never know what a landline is. They'll never know what a phone booth is. I tell you another thing they'll never know because of change. They will never know what a newspaper is. They'll never see a newspaper man come around and throw the newspaper in the yard, or even go to the store and buy a newspaper. Why? Because they're all online. They don't know what a newspaper is. That's change. Because you got this phone, you don't have a telephone at home. You know what you don't have? You don't have a digital camera no more. You ain't walking around with no camera. No, why? Because this is a camera. This put the digital folk out of business. You know another thing you don't have no more because of this phone? You don't have a camcorder. You ain't walking around with that big old camcorder no more. Why? Because you got it right here. You don't believe it? Go out here and do something stupid in the streets and see how many people filming you and have you on blast on social media and on the news, okay? But all of that is change because this represents change. We have to deal with change. I tell you what, I remember this here plain as day. It had to be like 2010. 2010. I was at a conference in Atlanta, Georgia. And in one of the day workshops, they had a guy come in, and he was talking about technology innovation. He asked us to pick up our phones. At that time, I had a I don't even know if I had an iPhone at that time. I might have a flip phone at that time. I picked up my phone. He said, y'all look at these phones. He said, I'm going to tell y'all something. He said, there's going to come a day soon when your people going to be going to church on these phones. Well, automatically that did not register with me at all, okay? That didn't register with me because I had no frame of reference. All I knew is we have church on Sunday morning and Wednesday night. People come on Sunday, and some of them come back on Wednesday. Now, you ain't going to get them back. If you got 200 folk coming on Sunday, you're going to get 25 or 30 folk come on Wednesday. They just ain't coming in great numbers, okay? That's just the way it is across the board, okay? Now, here's the problem. He said that because every pastor we dealt with, people in the stands, people in the seats, okay? That's all we knew. We worked hard every week to make sure people got in the seats, to make sure people there on Sunday, people there on Wednesday. We worked very hard. So here's a guy telling us they're going to be coming on television. Now, I didn't reject him. I didn't reject him, but I didn't receive it. And I've always been like this. If somebody tells me something and I don't see it, some stuff I just totally reject. If it's way out of bounds, I just reject it and it's just gone, okay? That's just it. Other times, I might take something and say, well, okay, I can't see that now. I'm not going to reject it. I'm just going to take it and file it and put it in a file like you do on a computer and send it over here, out of my way. It's still, I'm not acting on it, but I ain't deleted it. It's still there. If I need to go back and get it, I get it. That's what I did with it. I just kind of stuck it to the side, okay? Because I couldn't even conceive what he was talking about. It wasn't until the pandemic hit that thing registered and that file came back and said, this is what he's talking about. Live streaming. People are literally going to church on their phones, riding down the road in the church service. Get up on Sunday morning, sit in the bed, put the phone up there, and can have church. Enjoy the entire service. People are still doing it. That's the change he was talking about. 10 years before what happened, now he didn't see the pandemic coming. He just saw the transfer of what was going to happen with technology. So 10 years before it happened, I'm sitting in a room and a guy tells me this is going to happen. 10 years later, I'm living it. In the last 5 years, been performing it. What are you saying, P. Ronald? Change. Churches decided we're not going to stream. We're not going to do this here. My folk going to come to church. We're going to get them a bill. And you know what? They folk didn't come back. And some of them lost out. I remember the first time when people started talking about giving platforms online, giving electronically. I rejected it. I want folk to come to church, write me a check, give me an offering. Ain't anybody going to give on no line. Ain't nobody going to be giving by no computer. Ain't nobody going to. Okay. People who didn't prepare for it. When the pandemic came, they had no way to receive. People hurt. I've always been smart. I'm not the dumbest guy here. I ain't the smartest person in the room, but I sure ain't the dumbest either. When I see trends, I follow. So I made sure he had everything set up about months before, about 4 months before the pandemic came. I got my tech team together. And I said, hey, we need to set our stuff up to start streaming. And we spent thousands of dollars, put a camera system in. Even some of my leaders rejected, Pastor, we just put this down. I said, nope, we need to do this. I didn't see the pandemic coming. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that in September of 2019, we said we need to start streaming. So we spent money, got our stream stuff set up, and we did our first stream the first Sunday in November, 3 months before the pandemic, about 3-4 months before the pandemic. We set up online giving. We did everything. So when the pandemic came, we were right in place. We didn't skip a beat. We were out of church for over a year, and our finances literally went up rather than down. People gave online because we had taught them, but we had also prepared for the change that was coming. Here's a point. Today, 90% of our giving, 90%, over 90% of the giving that comes to our church comes via electronically. People are sitting in service and give electronically. Sometimes half of our budget came in before the service starts on Sunday. It'll be on Saturday. People give it because they have a vehicle to do it online. Now imagine if I just resisted change and didn't set it up. I'd be missing out on valuable resource. I'll be praying and pulling out heaven. Oh, God, supply my need. He said, I tried to help you, but you won't set up a system so people can give you. You got to flow. If people are shopping online, if people are paying bills online, guess what? They want to give their offerings online. We got to change. We got to set it up. We got to do it to where it's convenient for them to do it. You're not going to win fighting the system. So leaders have to deal with change. Okay? Got to deal with it. Got to deal with it. And sometimes the change goes totally against what you've been used to, what your tradition has been. Now, I'm not saying violate scripture. I'm not saying do nothing unbiblical. Changes, I'm talking about just methodology changes, style changes. Okay? I mean, what's the difference in giving online or giving in an envelope in the service? It's the same amount of money. It's going to the same place. You know. So we have to deal with all these changes. And again, change is upon us. Change ain't going nowhere. And change is a result of technology. That's another pain we do is the technology. The technology changes. Innovation. If you're gonna run a great program at your church, you got to have great technology. You got to have great people in the room back there, or your tech team, and they got to be innovative to make sure you're looking good going out. Like the tech team here at BGT Studio, a great team that makes all this happen. And then with technology, stuff is you have to upgrade stuff. And then for some upgrade, then the program don't work with the old program, so you got to upgrade the program. Sometimes that costs money. It's all kind of stuff, but you got to deal with technology. AI is out there now. And so these are all pains that leaders have to function and deal with. And so we don't fight technology. We don't preach against technology. The idea is, how can we use technology to better thrust our vision forward? How can we use technology to minister to our people, to grow our people, to equip our people? How can we use technology to reach the world and reach the masses, to expand the kingdom of God? How can we do this? See, for so long the church has demonized everything. And the Bible talked about in the latter days, knowledge shall be increased. This is the increase of knowledge. So let's use it for the glory of God and not see it as some demon-inspired something that's trying to hurt the church. Okay? So we have to deal with change. We have to deal with technological innovation. We have to deal with all these things. And they bring pain. They bring pain. But the results that they give you and the potential that they have for you is immeasurable, okay? It allows you, again, the technology. This podcast I'm speaking on, this wasn't possible 10 years ago. I'm speaking. I have the potential to speak to every person on the globe, anybody around the world that has Facebook, or YouTube, or social media, internet. They can hear me. So I have a global audience, a potential global audience. There was no way 10 years ago I could have had this possibility. I would have gone on a major network, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, guy paying millions of dollars, the major player, a year to reach the world. Now we're doing it for free because that's what change has done. BGTV Studios is giving me a potential global impact. Every Sunday when we stream at our church, Covenant Church International, I have global impact potential. Every Wednesday night we do our virtual Bible study, global. And I know it because we get feedback from people in Africa and other countries that watch our program. That ain't just me. So I'm on this. So that one of the great changes that happened is they leveled the playing field. So I'm on the same playing field as some of the major players. We all leveled out. You may have more followers, but you ain't got a bigger reach potential. We got the same reach potential. Unlike a television station, one station may reach this far, another reach further, but on social impact, social network, it reaches the same. Facebook on my phone, on my stream, reach the same as it does on Joel Osteen's or someone else, or T.D. Jakes, or somebody like that. The playing field has been level. That, my friends, is a good change. See, change is good. Change brings progress. Whew, man, this is great. Gotta go. Time's up. We pick up here next podcast, okay? Hope you enjoyed this. Hey, again, comment, let me know. Say, Doc, man, it was good. Appreciate it. Hey, man, I'd like to let Brad and the leaders here at BGTV Studio know that the Leadership Edge is blessing you. Now, listen, don't forget to visit my page, www.pronaldwilder.com. It's on the screen there. Pick up my book, The ABCs of Leadership. Tell me what you think about it, and it'll bless you real good. Don't forget to go to the shop page. Get on the shop page. You'll see all of my leadership teachings there, the rules of engagement, the Maximus principle, observations on leadership, just different things. You can download them and have them on your device, or the best buy is the bundle package just here, jump drive. You can just stick it right here. I stick it in my computer, and I can listen to everything I got. If you bought this, it cost about $100. If you bought all my tapes on there, all my downloads on there individually, it'd be about $300. So you can look, the savings is astronomical. Your best buy is the bundle package. Listen, I also want to admonish you to be a supporter of BGTV Studios. This is a great platform. It's giving us people like me a voice, a global voice. Others on here, like some great podcasters here. So be a supporter. 100% of what you give goes directly to the support of BGTV Studios. We don't get anything as podcasters. It's on the screen for you, 3 ways to give. The website, you can do Venmo, you can do Cash App. Scan the QR codes with your phone. Amen. Do this for me. Pray about being a one-time giver. Give a good one-time gift, or become a monthly giver. My wife and I, Angela, we are supporters of BGTV Studios. We support it. We believe in it, and we thank God for it. And so this is good ground for you to sow in. So please go ahead, do that, make it happen. I appreciate it. Listen, my time is up. Thank you for your time. Signing off, this is your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder, reminding you that leadership matters and leaders lead. God bless you. I'll see you on next Tuesday.